Alright, what's going on guys? The Saiyan17 here, and this video is going to be my final thoughts on Dragon Ball Xenoverse. The reason it took so long was because I'm taking my time with this game, also because my cousins came over to stay at our place, so I did not get time to make a video or play the game very much until now. Now I did a video similar to this one before the game released, so of course I had to make one after the final product came out. Now listen, I'm not coming here to sell you this game. You guys know me, I'm not gonna say this is a perfect game just because I'm a huge fan and this has a DBZ logo slapped on it. Like I said before, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to talk about what I love about this game and what I hate about this game. So if you cannot accept someone else's opinions about a video game, I suggest you hop off this video right now. With that being said guys, let's talk about the graphics first. As soon as you get past the start menu of this game, you are thrown into your first fight, which is Goku vs Frieza, and the graphics look outstanding. The character models look great, the lighting looks great, the graphics are absolutely amazing. Once again, this is something that I have been saying before the game even had a name. Back when it was called Dragon Ball New Project, I said that this will be a great looking game simply because Dimps was behind it. I have absolutely no problem with it. Whether it's in-game or cutscenes, it looks outstanding. The game for me is now up there alongside Burst Limit as the best looking DBZ games ever made. Also, I forgot to mention this guys, but I am playing on the PS4, so this is the PS4 version of the game. I know for a fact that the Xbox One version is pretty much the same thing, but I cannot speak for the PS3 and 360 versions because a lot of people have reported that the game has frame rate drops for the last gen console. So obviously you'd expect somewhat of a lower quality for those versions. Not by a lot, but just a little bit. Next thing I want to talk about is the audio. Now me personally guys, I am playing with the Japanese voices. If you guys watch my videos, you know that I play games like Burst Limit with the Japanese voices also. I like the English dub and that's what I grew up with, but I do love the Japanese voices more. Also, one of the complaints I have is with the lip sync, and this is something a lot of DBZ games have a problem with. The English audio is not in sync properly with the lips. For some people this might not even be an issue, but I'm a person who pays attention to details, so this kind of did bother me. The sound effects are great and give you the feel of the powerful energy attacks and all that, but I have to say what really shines in this game is the soundtrack. I have not been impressed with any DBZ game soundtrack since the Budokai games and Burst Limit, but that has finally changed. This game has a really good soundtrack, and I even downloaded it on my computer. I think the fans are really going to remember it for a long time. Let's talk about the story next. Xenoverse actually has a new story mode that we haven't seen before in a Dragon Ball game. All the trailers pretty much gave away the story except for the main villain, which I won't spoil for some people. Basically, there is a group of time breakers led by Toa and Mira, and what these people are doing is interfering or messing up the original Dragon Ball history and timeline that we all love from the manga and anime. So it's up to your created character, which is called the Future Warrior, who is working with Trunks to fix the Dragon Ball timeline and return history to, its original course. So basically, it's still your typical story where you'll be going from the Saiyan saga to the Frieza saga and so on, but there are a few twists and turns which some people will like. Now, to me, the story mode was alright. I'm not saying it's bad, but it wasn't amazing either. It's funny because the reason they made it was to make the game unpredictable and feel more fresh, but instead, it actually was very repetitive and predictable. So here's the thing, man. Throughout the story, you're gonna have to fight major villains like Vegeta, Frieza, Cell, and so on multiple times, like you normally would. But now, after you defeat them for like the third time, Toa and Mira will appear, and they'll wave their little wand, and suddenly the character you just defeated will now get possessed, and they'll start glowing all purple. For example, Cell will become Dark Cell, Frieza will become Dark Frieza. So basically the only thing it does for the game is make it more repetitive. You just end up fighting the same damn character again. No wonder the story mode is actually long. It's because you have to fight the same characters over and over again, and it doesn't even affect the gameplay. It's just the same fight with the same opponent having more health and being more stronger. That's it. The whole concept of dark characters, in my opinion, is pretty lame and silly. I mean, you have to fight a dark version of Hercule, which literally does nothing but waste time. This whole concept feels like an excuse to, make the game longer than it already is. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the story mode. It's not bad, but I would have just preferred to play through the actual original story with, these awesome graphics instead of having this Toa and Mira crap shoved down my throat. Next, let's get into the gameplay, which in my opinion is the most important part of the game. Actually, this should be everyone's main focus in the game. You can have all your flashy graphics, but if the gameplay is not there, what's the point? So how is Dragon Ball Xenoverse's gameplay? Well, before I let you guys know, I want to say something important. This is not a fighting game. Some of you probably saw this coming, and some of you are probably shocked to hear this, but to me, this is really not a fighting game. And I'm not saying that to make fun of the game, I'm saying that so you don't judge it as a fighting game, because I know for a fact that many YouTubers will describe it that way when it is clearly not. If you guys have been following my channel, you will remember that a couple months ago I made a video and I described Xenoverse using a certain term, which was that Dragon Ball Xenoverse is a Dragon Ball simulator with MMORPG elements. And after playing the final build of this game, I am still sticking to that term. Here is why. I'm going to try explaining this as best as I can. There are 5 things that most major MMORPG games have, and we'll be going through them and comparing them with Xenoverse, because I know some people won't believe me when I say it's not a fighting game. Number 1. Most MMORPG games have a PSW. A PSW is a persistent state world, for those of you who didn't know, and this persistent state world is basically an area or world in a game that will always exist even after the player has quit, logged off, or exited the game, and this world will normally be full of other users. Does Xenoverse have that? Yes, it does, in the form of Toki Toki City. Toki Toki City serves as your main hub where you can interact with other players. It also is a replacement for the main menu, which is something the game does not have. At first it might confuse some players, but don't worry, you will get used to it. Toki Toki City is divided into 3 sectors or 3 areas. The Time Machine Station, where you will find game modes such as online and offline battles, and also online and offline parallel quests. There is also an industrial sector where you will find shops for skills, items, and clothing. And there is also an area called Plaza of Time where you will be able to summon Shenron, enter the World Tournament, or even enter a place called the Time Nest where you will be able to play story missions. Number 2. Most MMORPGs have a class system that you are able to customize. For example, a warrior class, which is good for combat, an assassin or rogue class, which is good for stealth, a mage or a wizard class, which is good for, long-range combat with magical attacks, and even a support type class, which is good for healing other players. So, does Xenoverse have a class system? Yes, it does. In Xenoverse, you have 5 classes or 5 races: Majin, Saiyan, Earthling, Namekian, and Frieza's race. All 5 of these classes have different abilities and their own pros and cons, so it's up to you as a player to decide which one is better suited for your play type. Number 3. Most MMORPG games have their own virtual currency that you, the player, can use to buy in-game items. Does Xenoverse have that? Yes, it does. In Xenoverse, you are able to buy new gear for your created character, you are able to buy and learn new skills, you are able to buy items that will aid you in battle, such as capsules for your energy, ki, and even stamina. Number 4, most importantly, MMORPGs need dungeons and quests. These missions are basically you clearing out areas or rooms with waves and waves of enemies. These enemies are usually a lower level in the beginning, but become harder as you move on. These missions are made to be replayed over and over again so the player can level up their characters. Does Xenoverse have that? Yes, it does, in the form of parallel quests. These missions in Xenoverse are taken straight from MMORPGs, where you start off in one area and you clear out waves of, let's say, Cybermen, then you go through a portal that will take you to the next area and you do the same thing there, and so on. It has the same type of grindy feel that you would get from an MMORPG. I mean, seriously people, there are missions in the game where you have to take out like 30 Majin Boos, one after another. Even though it's fun at times, it can seriously get repetitive, which is one downside of this game. Lastly, number 5. Most MMORPGs allow the players to create a group or an option to form an alliance with your friends or even other players you meet. Does Xenoverse have that? Yes, it does. In Toki Toki City, you can find team registration stations where you can form a team, both private and public. Doesn't matter. Then you can play missions together with up to 2 other players, including yourself. You can even send or trade items with other players by going to the time-space delivery station, which you'll also find in Toki Toki City. Now let's talk a bit about the fighting system of this game. The fighting system is decent. It's nice to see that we have gotten rid of that horrible one-button fighting that we had in Battle of Z. We are back to having light and strong attacks. The game even lets you somewhat create your own combos that can focus on key attacks or just straight up striking attack. It depends on what skills you have equipped and what type of player you actually are. Now, is the fighting system on the level of Budokai Infinite World or Burst Limit? Of course not. It's not even close in terms of depth and technicality, but once again, that is a reminder that Xenoverse is not a fighting game. Xenoverse doesn't even have a training mode. That just proves my point. What fighting game doesn't have a training mode? Budokai, Infinite World, Burst Limit, Tenkaichi, Raging Blast, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Marvel vs. Capcom, you name it. They all have training modes where you're supposed to go to practice your combos. Now, like I said, how Xenoverse is not a fighting game, and even though it does have the option for one-on-one battles, after you play them, you will see that the game is not made for them, which some people like myself will find disappointing. The game is clearly made for team battles. I mean, the entire story mode is team battles. It's your created character teaming up with someone else. All the parallel quests are focused on team battles. Your team will be taking on waves and waves of enemies, and that's what it excels at. Like I said, one-on-one battles are possible, but they just feel out of place, to be honest. This is not a game for that stuff. Now, this leads me to talk about something else. I absolutely hate the AI in this game. One thing which is really disappointing in Xenoverse is the fact that this game focuses on team battles, but the AI for your teammates most of the time is horrible. 90% of the time that I have failed missions was because of my teammates dying. Not because I lost, because the CPU got killed. You can be the best player in the game, but if your teammate dies, boom, mission failed. It is absolutely frustrating how stupid the computer is in this game. I've had moments where I've been knocked down and my partners literally just stand there staring at a wall. Also, another stupid thing about this game is the fact that you cannot change the difficulty. There is only one default difficulty for this game, and like I showed you, the AI is very stupid at times. So it's not like, oh, the difficulty was set on easy, let me bump it up to normal or hard so the AI can become better. No, there is no difficulty. The AI is stupid forever. You can't fix it. You can't fix the stupidity of your teammates or your opponent. You can literally spam certain moves like your grab attack, whether it's in versus mode, parallel quests, or story mode, and the AI will do nothing to block it. Tactics like these can be used to easily wipe out the opponent's health and win fights without even being touched. You can literally farm Zenny and experience points just by replaying missions and doing this. That's how broken it is. Oh yeah, one more thing. Remember the good old days when you could go to your friend's house, hook up a controller and play local versus battles on all the stages? You can't even do that in this game. Since this game has no split screen, the local versus battles are limited to only one stage, which is the World Tournament Arena, because the other stages are too big. That's it. So if your friends come over and they want to play, have fun playing on the same stage over and over again. Also, you can't even turn off the in-game clock. All matches have a time limit, which is so stupid. Taking options away from the players is just horrible. Not everyone plays the same way. I'm not sure why they would do this. That's just disappointing, man, seriously. Now, before I go, I want to talk about one last thing. Since Xenoverse is a Dimps game, people are comparing it to Budokai 3. People are saying it absolutely destroys Budokai, or that Budokai absolutely destroys Xenoverse. And to those people I say, are you stupid? Budokai was created to be a pure fighting game. That's what it does best. Xenoverse is created to be a MMORPG type game, like I said. So how exactly do you say that one is better than the other? It's so random. It's like saying that a monkey is better than a horse because it can climb a tree. Well, obviously that's what the monkey does. But then at the same time, someone else can say that the horse is better than the monkey because the horse can run faster, which is also true. So you see how stupid it is? They are two animals that do two different things, just like these games. Is Budokai better? No. Is Xenoverse better? No. Come on, people, flex your freaking brain. So yeah, that's basically it. Is Xenoverse a bad game? Absolutely not. It's a good game for what it is, and it's definitely a step forward from trash like Ultimate Tenkaichi and Battle of Z. Now you guys know that I do not rate games because a number literally means nothing to me. You have the pros and cons of the games, so it's up to you, the player, to decide if you want to buy it. If you like this new style, then buy the game. If you don't, then skip it. Anyways, I'm currently burned out from playing Xenoverse, so I'm gonna go enjoy some Budokai and Burst Limit. Peace out.